Hey, thanks for watching. Today we'll be discussing whether or not political correctness is good or whether it is evil. So, in case you don't know what political correctness is, it is the avoidance of all language and actions that may offend someone, more specifically minorities and oppressed groups. A prime example of this is news anchors and politicians using the term African American rather than black. Black would be considered a politically incorrect term. African American would be the politically correct term. So as you can see on the screen, I have two black people, or two African Americans. So tell me, can you find the black person and the African American person on the screen? Which one is it? Moving on. Political correctness has positive and negative effects that we can currently see today. There are two examples that I'll be using here. The first example is the positive aspect of it. For the N-word, we all know what that word is. It's a derogatory term for black people. It has the purpose of eliminating black people as a human being. It is a very racist word. It is used to dehumanize blacks. And thanks to political correctness, that word is no longer socially acceptable. It's deemed as being racist. It has a lot of negative effects if you use it. It creates a lot of social isolation if you use the N-word a lot, which is a good thing. Political correctness is really good at eliminating hate speech. That's the positive part of it. However, there is a negative part to it. And a more recent example we could come up with is radical Islam, or ISIS. Now, the term radical Islam is considered politically incorrect. That's true. Instead, the Obama administration prefers to use the term terrorists rather than radical Islam. This is actually very dangerous due to the fact that if we can't recognize where these people are from or what they believe, it makes it a lot harder to eliminate them. If we could find out what parts of Islam they take, we can use that to our advantage to how to eliminate and destroy them. Indirectly, political correctness has made it very difficult to destroy ISIS simply by not acknowledging that they're radical Islamic extremists. Instead, the politically correct term would be terrorists. So that way you don't offend regular Islamic people, or the real Islams as they call it. That's the negative part of it. So let's talk about how political correctness works. Political correctness works by manipulating the language to what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. When you choose what is not appropriate, there's a punishment for it. For example, I say black on national television rather than African American. I may experience a lot of social backlash because of it. In turn, I could even lose my job over it. Political correctness presents a change in language, manipulation in language, and a punishment if you are to break this rule. So, if I were to say the N-word on national television, there would be a backlash to it, a punishment given. I would lose my job, in which I should. So, could it be used for evil? That's the question. Is this method evil? So in order to determine that, we have to look at an Orwellian society. An Orwellian society was created by George Orwell in his book 1984. In this book, there is a giant political party that controls everything. More specifically, it controls all the information done. It's basically the most oppressed society that you could physically imagine. And in this society, this political party has cut through and trimmed through every single word in the dictionary. It creates something called doublethink or devilspeak. So they cut out words like evil or bad or awful and completely revise the language to better themselves, to better the party's goals. George Orwell believed that if you can control someone's language, you can control the way they think. So a prime example of this would be If we don't have the word wrong in the dictionary, let's say, the word wrong does not exist. We have no concept of wrong. The political party would say, well, the sky is green. And you may think, oh, well, the sky doesn't look green. It looks kind of blue. But because you don't have any concept of the word wrong, you have to change your thinking as, oh, well, obviously the sky has to be blue because I don't have a concept of wrong. And if you were to go against what the party would say, they would torture you or subject you to torture of some kind. In the book later, the main character gets tortured with rats. Spoilers. But yeah, it's essentially that. Be able to control the language to control the thoughts of people. So political correctness actually works very similarly. As I talked about before, it's used to control the language in order to complete a subjective goal. As I gave an example of that, eliminating certain words like the N-word from the English dictionary if possible. Political correctness uses the same Orwellian goal. It's very, very dangerous to do this. If we become too much of a politically correct society, political correctness and the people that use it, or the people at the top, the authority that give the political correctness, will be able to control the way we think by controlling the way we speak. After all, you speak the way you think. So if you can only speak in certain ways, you can only think in certain ways. Political correctness, though probably it's not intended to, it destroys your thoughts. It wages war against free thought. And that, in turn, is very, very dangerous. A practical application of this is the difference between sin and hell. What political correctness may aim to do in the future, maybe 50, 60, even 20 years, no time soon, is make the words sin and hell politically incorrect terms. They would provide a social isolation punishment for doing so as, well, what right do you have to judge me, kind of a thing. If we eliminate the words sin and hell from the dictionary, it's very, very hard to describe why people need Christ in their life. This method is very, very dangerous. If you are not able to express sin, or express the word sin, or express the word hell, or punishment after death, you cannot think about that, and it would destroy the basis of Christianity. In fact, it's a trap entirely. Political correctness, though not intended to, wages war on intellectualism, free thought and expression, Christianity, and every other faith and religion in existence. Though the intended goal is not to do that, it is very, very dangerous to let political correctness go through. I would urge you indefinitely to not participate in political correctness. Just don't be a jerk. Don't go around using the N-word. Don't use hate speech to specifically offend people. That is the goal. Don't be a politically correct person. Be a person who preaches the gospel and doesn't care what others think. If we cared what others think, many things would not get done. Mark Zuckerberg, for example. Well, MySpace exists, Friendster exists. Why do you care? Don't let people control the way you talk. And don't let people control the way you think. It will only have negative consequences in the end. So, if you liked my video, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps out. I haven't made a video in a long time, but I plan on making a lot more here very soon. I just have to do a lot more research. I'll soon be making a video series on Hermeticism. It's one of my favorite subjects and something very near and dear to my heart. Anyways, have a nice day and goodbye.